up this see and hear document, we'll go back one more time and look at this rights and duties of individuals, which is the first document here. Every individual is entitled to be protected and assisted by the state to which he belongs in a manner and form established by treaties and international law. No individual who, according to the law of the state against which he institutes a claim as a citizen of that state, shall be entitled to any such protection. I wanted to once again show that if you're an individual belonging to a state, you can't sue the state. It's international law. It's been in the law of nations since the 1200s. You got the right of exile. You got a right to leave. You got a right to self-determination. But stop your whining, quit complaining, and just leave. We don't want to hear it because we're not. They're not going to change. Under this, there was 9 cases that were researched. Arthur found them to show the general immunities pertaining to prosecutors, judges, and government agents. This is why you can't sue the state, because here's what happens. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, we're back to general immunity. Prosecutor may violate civil rights in initiating, prosecuting, and presenting case. Immunity extends to all activities closely associated with litigation and potential litigation. And there's the case site, Second Circuit Federal Court of Appeals, Davis versus Grusmeyer, Embler versus Pogman. In the first one, prosecutor may knowingly use false testimony and suppress evidence. They can do this. They're immune. This is how they govern their citizens. Prosecutor may file charges without any investigation. Prosecutor may file charges outside his jurisdiction. Myers versus Morris. Prosecutor may knowingly offer perjured testimony. Jones versus Shanklin.
Do whatever they want.
Correct. They're immune from whatever they do because they don't have standing. Kurt and Scott don't have standing. They don't have standing to state a claim. They're citizens. They filed claims against the United States. They lost all their protection, and they're just being ground into fine powder now.
You have no standing.
A trustee of what? Property that belongs to the United States? Like being a trustee for one of its citizens, which is their property under the Department of Human Resources?
So they basically...
And they didn't have any agreement through the OAS or through the Hague for any settlement of conflicts of interest or conflicts of law over promissory notes, bills of exchange, or invoices, which they did plenty of. They did plenty of bonds. And so when the U.S. decided they had a conflict with it, they went, okay, how are we going to settle the conflict? Oh, you boys don't have a contract to settle conflicts. You must be trespassing across our rights. Now, they didn't tell them that, and they're not going to.
You think somebody would have told them this?
The reason why I'm doing this with you today, Ray, is because this has come up 3 times for me now in the past 2 weeks. I don't know why it came up 3 times, but, hey, if it takes forever to go through this, all I can say is, well, if it keeps you out of jail, because I know I've seen it, but I've also seen the other side of it where they give honor where honor is due for people who choose to come out. They put it in all the movies, Ray. It was in the last Matrix movie, remember? Matrix 3. What about those who still want to leave? Will they be allowed to leave? He said, of course. You think I'm human? This was the gift that I was given to see that these words mean something. The humans was the hue of the moon because why? The moon is in darkness. You have to have a moonarchy to rule over the moons, which is why they gave them that. And now when I say they, I'm talking about the Father. I'm talking about a universal thing. A constitution is Roman imperial law. Why would anyone want to be under Roman imperial law? The old words. Why did these systems form up the way they did? They're just as tired of the incompetence as any. They've watched 4,000 years of incompetence. People not wanting to live in honor.
Something happened to have the U.S. go on the offensive.
Well, first of all, when we read the Paddleford case and you read that thing about silent acquiescence, and it said silent acquiescence in the breach of a treaty binds an entire nation. Okay, well that tells me that somebody there, probably the head, violated international treaty. Violated some agreement that was already on the table. Do I know that? No. People say, well, what agreement did he violate? I don't know. I guess it was private international law, meaning private contract that I'm not privy to. But I guarantee you that they did not go in there without a reason. And since he breached the treaty, it bind the entire nation.
They can take it out.
I think the thing is that people get upset about this, Ray, but I don't get upset about it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and judge how they think. I'm only worried about how I think, and I'm only worried about what it is that I do, and can I live in honor with myself and live in honor with what I say in my contracts and my agreements. That's the real bottom line. Can people do that? Trust me, they look at the sacrifice they made to get to where they are, whoever they are. And there's an element of it where even when I had to go to court, and I was talking about that, Ray, and I've mentioned this to you several times, I'm telling you, nothing's happening without the Creator's permission or without His direct involvement. And He is very close. He's in your face. What are you going to do in relation to coming out of her, my people, and living in honor? And someone's here to monitor that. I don't know who, but I have experienced it. I have seen it. I understand that. My point is that when these people do things like what we're talking about with Dorian, or the people who have the agreements are just looking at what's the contract, what's the agreement. Did you have a right to do this, or are you trespassing on our right? And if you are, we have a problem.
What happens then?
Well, you lost the home because you didn't have the standing to keep the home.
1,000, 5,000.
They could come after those people if they wanted to.
Well, I realize that.
I mean, look at what we got here. Prosecutor can suppress exculpatory evidence. Prosecutors are immune from lawsuit for conspiring with judges to determine the outcome of judicial proceedings. Prosecutor may knowingly file charges against innocent persons for a crime that never occurred. I can tell you how they can get all them 4,000 if they want them. It's called misprision of a felony. It's called you were involved. You were in collusion with it. You had contract with it. People say, well, we got damaged. The system's going. The ignorance of the law is no excuse. Now, are they going to? No, they're probably busy enough. They're all chasing somebody else. They will do whatever.